Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2000 Ford E-150 Chateau. Up front is a 5.4 liter V8, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this E-150 Chateau for one reason. It's a 12-passenger van. Now, this particular vehicle has almost 260,000 miles. It has lived a very, very hard life shuttling people around, shuttling choirs around. And so I'm excited to share this van with you because even though it is relatively high mileage, this thing just keeps on going, and there's a lot of perks about this over some of its competitors. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 5.4 liter Triton V8 under the hood. Well, it's not Ford's best work, in my opinion. There's two main issues that come with this engine. First of all is the spark plugs. Not only are the spark plugs really, really short, they only have about 4 threads on them, but when the block gets hot, they weld themselves to the head and they become a big problem. And some of them had 2-piece spark plugs that would snap in half, and when you go to remove them, the bottom would drop into the cylinder. Not super great. The other issue is the timing chain can sometimes stretch, and this is an interference motor. Now, this is the 2-valve, so it does not have VVT, which later came with the 3-valve in the 2000s. So we luck out there, and it has had 260,000 miles on it, and it seems to be working fine now, although there is a service engine soon light that's staring me down. Like I said, bear to it is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Nothing really interesting there. It works, and that's about it. Last but not least, this of course is 2-wheel drive, meaning it is rear-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the E-150 Chateau? Well, as I mentioned, and will keep mentioning, this vehicle has been through a rather hard life, so the suspension is actually cushy and soft. However, not in a planned way. More of like a senile dog that doesn't really listen to sit and stay anymore. It's not bad, but it just kind of wanders. It doesn't really have much purpose or poise to it. But visibility is great. It's pretty easy to drive because these had to be driven by so many different kinds of people. The controls themselves, steering is light, the throttle is light, all of that, but you are pretty massive, so definitely keep that in mind. I think I can kick the back end out on a gravel road. Oh yeah. It'll do it. Just a little flick. All right, that's kind of fun. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 5 gauges. Off to the left is my fuel and coolant temperature. In the center is the speedometer, and off to the right is the oil pressure and battery voltage. On the steering wheel, we do get cruise control, interestingly enough. And off to the left, we have a climate vent and our headlight switch. Moving out of the door, we have power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. And moving into the center, we have our climate controls. This would normally have air conditioning, however, it has since failed, hence why I'm screaming because the windows are down. We also do have controls for the rear climate. Absolutely love to see that. We get some climate vents and the radio. Now, this originally did come with the CD player radio. However, the owner swapped it to his slightly older but nicer E-350 that I'll also be reviewing and will link at the end of this one. Then we do get this center console. Again, this center console is actually from the 99, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test. And in the far cup holder, it actually will pass. So I'm happy to report that the E-150 Chateau passes the big friggin' bottle test. We also do get a little ashtray in the middle, big cubby space in the center, and then the seats. The seats are very comfortable. They're cloth, they're nothing special at all, but I do miss this era of seats. You don't find these types of seats in modern vehicles. These are cushy, comfortable, and they feel like a very good worn-in pair of jeans. I know exactly where I can sink into them. They're comfy and reassuring, although not looking their best. So here are the seats that we have to deal with here today. However, speaking of seats, we got a bunch more to do in the back. So let's go do a backseat review. So, the Chateau. First of all, we do have dual opening doors over here. The Chateau was kind of the upper trim of the E-150, and what that really ended up meaning was the fact that you got 2 captain's chairs for the second row and then benches for the third and fourth row. So I get to enjoy nice, comfy captain's chairs on a road trip. This is 1000% where you want to be. These chairs are comfortable. I have my own space. I have plenty of that said space. Absolutely love to see that. We do have a giant window that you can vent over here on the side because there is no door on the driver's side. There's dual doors over here, no doors over here. Dual, none, dual, none, dual, none. Get it? But now I will start my journey to the back of the van. All right, so this is the third row, the trilogy of these seating positions, and just like Back to the Future, there's no misses here. The third row is just as comfy as the second, which is just as comfy as the first. Now, I have always been partial to the second row, Back to the Future Part 2, so I think that's my favorite. However, let's go into uncharted territory and check out the fourth. All right, all the way in the back of the van, if you could even see me from up there. Honestly, not bad. It's a little bit of a struggle to get into. The youngest siblings are always going to be shoved into the very back, which makes sense. There's the least amount of room. However, the least amount of room is still more comfortable than the brand new 2026 Hyundai Ioniq 9 that I reviewed in its third row, and this is now the fourth row. You can also remove this and have a huge luggage area. So if you're family, you have 4 kids, everyone gets their own seat, remove this bench, and now you have basically a small U-Haul truck at the very back of your van. Very nice to see that, but this is the fourth row of the E-150. I have vents in the ceiling for every single row, which is really, really nice. We have fan speed right over the second row. The lights stop at the second row, so I'm gonna sit in the darkness back here. If I had my Game Boy Color with no backlighting, it would be kind of hard to play that on a road trip. But I mean, how often on the channel do we get to review 4 rows of seating? Very, very cool. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space because I'm basically in it now, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the E-150 Chateau, we have opening doors here, little latch here to open this up. Once we are back here, nothing really crazy to write home about. This is where I was just sitting. So as you can see, if you remove this bench, you get tons and tons of storage. Literally like no features back. I guess a light, does that count as a feature? I don't know. So there you go. That's what's around the back of the fourth row in an E-150 Chateau. Now we gotta talk about the looks. It's fine. I don't think that the E-150 Chateau is anything too special, and Chateau was really just the upper, nicer trim of the E-150. It didn't really get anything visually on the exterior, so here it is. I guess, if you've ever wanted a walk around of an E-150, there you go. I've provided that for you here today. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the E-150 Chateau here on the channel? Well, despite some certain qualities about this vehicle, I actually do like it. At 260,000 miles, this vehicle has been around the block quite a few times. And so yes, this van is raggedy, the AC is broken, the check engine light is on, the ride quality has morphed and changed like silly putty over the years. It ain't great. However, this van is still here, and this van is still doing its job. It's still a daily driver. It's still shuttling a large family around here in rural Indiana. Ford built this 25 years ago, and it's still doing the job that it set out to do a quarter of a century ago. That's not small potatoes. That's big, big potatoes. And so yes, this van is worse for wear. So don't judge this based off of its current condition. Judge this based off of how many different conditions this van has made it through. This vehicle's a great showing of survivor bias. Just because it ain't running great, better than not running at all. And this van's competitors, mostly the Dodges, where are those? Junkyards. So this one is a junkyard survivor. This van has earned its stripes, and I appreciate that very, very much. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to John for letting me borrow his big blue van, as well as his red van that I'm reviewing at the same time. John has been absolutely wonderful to work with. We've reviewed several of his vehicles. I'll play a quick playthrough here of them. He's wonderful. He has a great family as well, and I appreciate him very, very much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.